A lot of the times people see black and white photography as something simple. They usually use black and white to fix or make a color photograph that doesn't work to kind of work, and I don't really agree with that. I think photography should be intentional and black and white should be a choice rather than trying to fix something that didn't work in the first place. In this video, I want to talk a little bit of high contrast and low contrast, and I'm also going to show some photographs that I took here in Belfast during the 12th of July parades. I think there is more to black and white than what people actually talk about it. I think when you're working with high contrast black and white, you can create silhouettes, you can create shapes and forms that are really impressive, and you create a different type of image. I think when you're talking about high contrast black and white, it's almost like a punk type of photograph. It's deeper, it's stronger, it's harder, if you know what I mean. And I think when you're talking about low contrast black and white, there's a softness to it. It's a little bit harder to create that separation, but I think it can create a very beautiful story. It can't really represent that day. We thought creating that fakeness as structure sometimes that you're gonna have in a very deep black and white, but it's all about taste. It's all about what you like doing it, what you enjoy seeing on your photographs. I usually shoot HP5. HP5 is rated at 400, but it's a film that you can work a lot with it. There is a lot of latitude on that film. You can shoot HP5 from 250 ISO to 1600 or even higher if you want, to be honest. But those would be the rates that work a little bit better. During the 12, I decided to try to shoot a little bit of a softer black and white. I decided to try to make a low contrast black and white. I usually work with higher contrast. I usually shoot at 800 because I live in Ireland. It's always cloudy, it's always dark, so you need 800 ISO to be able to shoot fast on the street and not having your shutter speed so low. During the parade, what I did, I decided to shoot at 320 ISO, and I plan to develop that film at 400. What happened when you shoot at 320 and develop at 400, you're roughly given 1/3 of exposure to that film, which means you're going to be able to see a little bit of more details on your shadows. And that works if you shoot at 250 and you develop at 400, you're going to be able to see even more details at shadows. But because that was my first time trying this, I didn't really want to push too hard. I thought 320 and developing at 400 would be the best just for the first testing. And I was very happy with how some of these photographs turned up. I feel like the highlights, they were very controlled, and my shadows, I had quite of a rich detail on it. Some of them was really hard to make the separation between the subjects, and I think that's the hardest part when you're talking about low contrast, because when you have a high contrast image, it's very easy to separate a subject from the front, from the back. It all depends on light on the day. But when you have this soft black and white, a lot of the things, a lot of the midtones, they have almost the same scale. So it's kind of hard to create that deep separation when everything has the same tone. And one thing that is important to remember as well, when you're talking about film photography, if you like grain, if you shoot at a lower ISO, your image is going to look a little bit flatter. What I mean by flatter is not really a flat image. Is more with less grain. If you go for higher and higher ISO, you're gonna have more and more grain. It depends on the film that you're using it. After taking these photographs, I came home and I developed at home. I used Ilford HP5 for development. I developed my film, I shook everything normally. I did my normal process, and then I scanned my photographs. I do mirrorless scan because I think it's easier. I think I get a very good quality scan, and it's also faster than a flatbed. It's just, I have the camera with me here, so it's the best way possible that I can make those photographs digitally. After that, I threw them in Lightroom and I worked a little bit with them, and I'm not gonna lie, it's quite hard for me to do the soft look contrast because you can't really clip your highlights and you can't really clip any darks. But at the same time, some photographs for me, they almost look a little bit muddy. It's hard to create that separation, and there are so many people that have a very good low contrast image, but they don't look muddy. The tones are perfect, but I still think I have a lot to learn. I still think I have a lot to try, and I think that's the beauty about film, or photography in general. You have to try different things, you have to try different formats or different ways of shooting something, and that's what I tried during this parade. During the parade, I thought having a softer look would be a better image for the day rather than something heavy or very high contrast. It was also a very sunny day, so when you're working with high contrast in a parade like that, you have a lot of sun, you could create darks that are really deep and highlights that are really strong as well. You lose a lot of information in the image sometimes, but at the same time it comes through preferences, comes through what you prefer, what you enjoy shooting in the end. Do I think shooting at 320 is a better ISO for HP5? Not really. I don't think there is one ISO that will make a better image when you're using HP5. I think you have to experiment. There are several ways of making photography, there are several ways of making work, and on that day I really wanted to try that. I think I always enjoy and I always liked lower contrast photographs. I don't know why, but I could never really make something that I liked when it comes to soft contrast, and I want to try harder because that's my favorite type of black and white. And I did get some photographs that I think they turn up really nice during this day. I don't think all of them turn up the best. There is a lot to learn even in post, because I think when you're mirrorless Canon and you're editing this in Lightroom, you have a lot of room to change your photographs. Not necessarily shooting at 800 will give you a very contrasty image. It really depends on how you're editing after. The only difference is when you shoot at 800, a lot of the information on your shadows will be gone because film is already developed, so they're not going to be there. When you're trying to shoot at 250, 320 and developing with longer times, you're going to have more information in that shadow, so in post it's going to be easier to create that lower contrast image. It's not that changing your develop time you create a soft contrast. It is a whole process. It depends on the lighting, it depends on your software, it depends on how you are working. For the future I'm going to still experiment with HP5 because I do want to achieve that low contrast look, and I do think it's important to have more information on your shadows. Not always I'm going to be able to shoot at 320 because again I live in Ireland and it's always cloudy and I need to shoot at faster shutter speeds, but I really like how those photos turn up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Take photos every day.